In today's video, we are talking about a former WWE superstar who is set to debut in AEW soon. Could it be the special surprise for this upcoming episode of Dynamite? We're going to talk about it in today's video. Also, on top of that, WWE possibly splitting up a tag team. And then, of course, we have a Johnny Gargano update. If you guys want more videos like this, don't forget to click that subscribe button, ring the bell. I give you guys my reactions to everything that's happening in pro wrestling. Sometimes you agree, sometimes you don't. It doesn't really matter. Drop your comments down below and tell me what you think, because what you think matters. At the end of the day, I'm not here to change your mind. I'm here to tell you guys what I think, and maybe we could have some common ground. With that being said, we got to talk about the Street Profits first, because there is this rumor that WWE might potentially try to split them up. In fact, Montez Ford was asked about this on a podcast with Booker T, and I kind of want to talk about this. So Montez Ford was asked if he would like to be a single star. He says, "I hear a certain chatter. I really don't buy it too much, because I feel like my job and task at hand is being the greatest tag team right now in this modern day era. So it feels like a lot of times I'm focused on that so much that until it happens, and when it happens, that's when I'll put my full attention and energy into it. But right now, I got to take care of my brother." So it's actually really interesting, because I see social media, they talk about Montez Ford and they talk about Angelo Dawkins. And sometimes they forget how good Angelo Dawkins is. But I understand why. It's just the way it works whenever there's a tag team. It's kind of like Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, Edge, and Christian, right? You can tell Vince McMahon definitely played favorites, with Jeff Hardy and Edge compared to Christian and Matt Hardy. But I don't think it actually downplayed anything whatsoever for those two guys, because they went on to be successful, not only in WWE, but elsewhere. So I think the idea of Street Profits eventually breaking up, it's inevitable. It's probably going to happen. But I hope WWE doesn't do this typical storyline where your tag team splits up and, now they start feuding with each other, kind of like what they did with DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Even though it was a great feud and everything like that, that was one of the biggest issues I actually had with NXT. It was like every story's the same. Like, we're splitting up. We're no longer brothers. We're no longer friends. Like, that's some high school shit. I think WWE should actually split them up and put them on both brands, kind of like the New Day, right? And then eventually bring them back together or whatever. They could still be supporting each other. I do think both of them actually have potential success as singles wrestlers. And I just think the biggest thing that will change, or that will have to change, is their overall presentation. I think Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins right now, being that they are the Street Profits with the red cups and everything, it's a fun act as a tag team. But I think if both of them were to go single stars, I think they do need to get a little bit more of an identity, which is not bad, because I think these two guys have the experience to now go and get that. So I look forward to it when it does happen. I do want to talk about Johnny Gargano, because there's another update. So there's a lot of people, we've been talking about Johnny Gargano for a while. There was rumors and reports that Johnny Gargano was headed to AEW. Then there was rumors and reports that Johnny Gargano was staying with WWE. Now, I mentioned on the day that Johnny Gargano left WWE, his final match, his final time there with Grayson Waller, when all that stuff happened, basically, there was people in the crowd who were talking to Candice, asking Candice LeRae, like, what was going on with Johnny Gargano. And we actually talked about this on the channel. We talked about this in the Discord server. We talked about this on Twitter, that basically Candice LeRae said he was going to help her with the pregnancy. And for some reason, the dirt sheets did not buy into that, because there was reports that Johnny Gargano was going to go to AEW. Now, as you guys know, Johnny Gargano did not go to AEW. Well, Fightful had a very interesting article today, basically just reminding people, and I think this was part of the article first appeared on Fightful Select. But basically what happened was AEW never teased the possibility, but of course, you guys know how it works with wrestling. But Fightful was told that Gargano has had contact with people at AEW, but they haven't heard whether or not there was formal conversations or negotiations about Johnny Gargano going into AEW. Either way, Fightful was told that Johnny Gargano had made it clear to anyone that's inquiring about his services that as of now, he is taking time off to help with Candice LeRae and any way possible with their new child being on the way. So for those who are unsure about what happens with Johnny Gargano next, I totally get it. I totally understand why you would feel this way. My belief is that right now, there is a lot of people going to AEW. And I understand there's going to be a lot of people leaving AEW. But I want to see Johnny Gargano go to the main roster. And I know this is an unpopular opinion, but I think if Johnny Gargano were to come back to WWE under the main roster, I just want to see if he can do something different from what we're all expecting. Because we all know that we're expecting WWE to completely bomb that whole thing. Like, we know that WWE probably won't succeed with Johnny Gargano on the main roster. But I almost want to see what they can do with him. Because if Johnny Gargano goes to AEW, which is totally fine, and believe me when I say this, I think Johnny Gargano is a world champion kind of guy. Potentially. If he were to go to WWE main roster and become a WWE champion, it would be pretty damn exciting to see that they made that happen, because nobody could see it coming. And I'm afraid that AEW's world championship picture is too crowded. Their TNT championship is too crowded. It's pretty crowded in AEW, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. But at the same time, too, I think Johnny Gargano, it would be interesting. I'm not saying he has to. I'm just saying it would be interesting to see what he would do in WWE on the main roster. But obviously, I wouldn't want to see it if WWE were to screw it up. Our final story of the day, guys, Jeff Hardy. So we have been talking about Jeff Hardy a little bit here and there. And as you guys know, Tony Khan actually revealed that there is going to be a top guy that debuts Wednesday on Dynamite. Now, some people believe that Jeff Hardy could very well be this guy. Some people don't believe it's possible because of the non-compete clause. Now, one thing to make perfectly clear, Jeff Hardy's drug test that WWE did was negative. He was not on drugs. And Jeff Hardy left that match mid-match. It was reported he left because he was unhappy about the shit that was happening in WWE. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know anything about non-compete clauses and how they work, other than, for the most part, you have to abide by them. However, there is a strong narrative that because of Matt Hardy and the way he's been teasing his new character change, there is this belief that Jeff Hardy may potentially be able to get out of his his non-compete. So just kind of keep that in mind. It's a very, very interesting situation, but there are people that believe Jeff Hardy's going to be the one that shows up. Now, it is really hard to say who is going to show up Wednesday, because nobody knows. I mean, look, we already know multiple people are showing up in AEW. In the next few weeks, multiple people are. Tony Khan has already confirmed this. Who is the one that's showing up Wednesday? Now, the thing is, Tony Khan specifically used the word top wrestler, top guy, right? Like top star. Top star is pretty specific. Now, I like Keith Lee. I think Keith Lee is great. I like Karrion Kross. But the last time we seen them on television was WWE Raw, and they were not top guys on WWE Raw. So I think Tony Khan's wording here is very interesting. Now, keep in mind, Matt Hardy is teasing that he has to go back to what made him rich. We already know what it is. It's Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy. Now, keep in mind, Jeff Hardy showing up at Revolution in a ladder match would make a lot of sense. So, food for thought. Just be pretty considerate of it. I'm not saying for sure Jeff Hardy is showing up Wednesday, but there is a lot of belief that he could very well get out of his non-compete early based on the circumstances and then show up. And hey, if that's the case, that's the case. It is what it is. Hopefully it's Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy together in a tag team division. Otherwise, I'm not really interested. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I will see you next time. Peace.